I did it! I finally got the chance to astral project back in the past and witness how they built the pyramids. Now, a lot of you actually already knew how they did it. There's a lot of theories out there, and a lot of people actually trying to make these little experiments to, I almost gave it away, to have the same effect. I'm going to talk about how they did it, as well as to who I saw there, rather the race of beings that were around the pyramid during its construction. You see, for those of you out there who know me, you would have come to understand by now that I have the ability to leave my body. This is how I was able to go back in time and witness the construction of the pyramids. Okay, this ability to leave the body is known as astral projection, otherwise known as an out-of-body experience. And when you're going through it, you tend to slip into a sleep paralysis state, after which, if you're unlucky, you see shadow beings. Most of the time people can't control it, but for those who have mastered this scary experience, we get to go anywhere that we would like. And so usually it would start off in a sleep paralysis state, after which a person would slide out of their body. But for me, I don't go into a sleep paralysis state, I just lie down and I take my consciousness out of my body, at which point it needs to shift into a different body, a different vehicle known as the astral body, which will allow me to then venture to either the afterlife, another dimension, off planet, or traverse time, go backwards or forwards in time. And so generally when you're doing this, you tend to look like a ghost. You tend to be a little bit brighter though, depending on where you are. The dimension that you exist in at the time tends to reflect how your astral body looks. I've been in dimensional planes that don't have a blue spectrum to them, so the whole dimension looks kind of orange. And if you look at yourself in the mirror, your pupils can be white, if usually they're brown. It's very interesting. I've been in other planes where rain falls up and the insects actually speak to you. I've even been in dimensions that look akin to Alice in Wonderland. It gets kind of weird. And at one point, 2 occasions, I met the Greek gods. I haven't made videos on those experiences because I wasn't sure if someone was pulling my leg or if it was actually a real experience. In that I wasn't sure if there were beings that were trying to trick me, you know, under the guise of Greek gods, or if it was an actual legitimate experience. Anyway, stay on topic. Astral projection. It's a cool ability. Those who can do it tend to experience a deeper sense of experience when it comes to life, because you get to experience life in its totality from many different dimensions. Yeah? So, I wanted to find out how they built the pyramids, and so I laid down on my bed and I chose to slide out of my body. It was quite seamless, quite simple. I'm used to it by now. And then I set my sights on the past. And so as I slide out, I set my intention to go to the past, and I find myself standing among a lot of greenery, a lot of jungle. And I think to myself, maybe this isn't it. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. And so I decide to bring my consciousness back into my body and then leave again, you know? Kind of just recalibrate my expectation. So I think to myself, I want to go back to when the pyramids were constructed. And then I slide out of my body and I take my time and I find myself again standing in the middle of a jungle. Only this time, what took me by surprise was the fact that not only was the sand beneath my feet slightly grey, but that there wasn't much of it. Because the desert, so to speak, in its entirety was actually, I want to say, a jungle oasis. I didn't see much water, but there was jungle everywhere. There was foliage everywhere. And what took me by surprise the most was the fact that the grass, the leaves, all of the greenery around me was so dark. I could only compare it to the classic elephant plant. You seen those? They have giant green leaves that are just as dark as the grass that I saw on that day. And then, as I pick my eyes up from the floor, I see in front of me, being constructed, the pyramids. Now the bottom is already constructed, but the middle part is all separated and spread out across space. The stone cap, which is pure white, is at the top. And all I notice at the time is this thick frequency, this humming that's radiating throughout the air. And it's so present that it starts to create a sound. Then it hits me. They're using acoustic sound in order to lift these blocks off the ground and then to place them, well, as we know them to be at the moment, in position. To hear the theories on the internet about this way of constructing the pyramids and then to see it firsthand, it's an entirely different experience. The jungle was thick with this vibration, and yet the people that were surrounding the pyramid were completely unfazed by it, like something they see all of the time. Now, was it alien technology? Perhaps. Very much perhaps. I don't believe that the people constructing the pyramid were necessarily free, because they did look like slaves in that they were wearing tattered clothes. But yeah, they could have very well been created by aliens. Now, the people, the slaves, I'm assuming they're slaves, that were around this pyramid, they took me by surprise. Because they were dark-skinned, not black. They didn't have so much melanin in their skin to the point where they looked black. Nor were they my complexion, a kind of brown, right? They were actually bronze. They looked orange. Most of the men were bald, and they looked perfect. You know, for back in the day, you'd expect they didn't have dental, they didn't have all of these other facilities that would make them look perfect, like plastic surgery, for example, and healthcare. But I don't know, maybe those things that we have today make us more soft and just less solid, because they looked chiseled. Their heads looked perfect. Their jaws were massive. The maxilla, the bone behind their nose, was so wide that it looked like they had a perfect bridge to their teeth. You know, imagine perfect Neanderthal. So perfect that their wisdom teeth drop down properly and they're straight. There's so much room back there. Their eyes were sunken, set, you know, to the point where their cheekbones were quite high. Their temporal regions were quite large. You could see the muscles surrounding the front of their skulls. The ears were perfect, not too big, not too small. And they all averaged around 6 feet. But going back to their skin, wow. A shimmering bronze. I kid you not. Sandals, yeah. Some of them bare feet. But other than that, oh wait, now I'm remembering. The same floating machines that I saw at the center of the earth were around this pyramid. They were black. They looked kind of like beetles. In that video, I show a clip of an actual image taken by a satellite, a real image of this type of spacecraft machine. I don't know what it is, drone, alien drone. But we've seen them on Earth already, and we've taken photos of them with our satellites. I put that image in that video. I'll leave a link to it somewhere. But I saw a similar one around the pyramid, and then another one nearby in my peripheral. I'm pretty sure they were pumping out the frequency that was allowing these rocks to levitate and then be positioned in perfect place. Astral projection, man. It's allowed me to see some very strange things, from entities to aliens, and I've started doing it a lot more recently. I've started also practicing other skills that, in combination with astral projection, might take it even further. But for another day, I'll disclose those. If you're interested as to how to learn this skill of astral projection, I have a bunch of free videos on my YouTube channel. I also have that video where I went to the center of the earth. It's not the last one I posted, but the one before. You'll see it there. And if you want something a little bit more meatier, something a little bit more advanced, I do have online courses on my website, ryancrobat.com. Take care. I'll speak to you all pretty soon. Peace.